How to be trauma proof. Wouldn't it be nice if you could put on like a bulletproof jacket, but for trauma, so that you could walk through life like you have this trauma proof jacket on, no matter what comes at you, you're able to overcome it? Well, that is possible. And that's what I'm going to be teaching you how to do here in this session, because you realize that not every human is traumatized. Not every human is even very susceptible to becoming traumatized. Many humans have a bulletproof jacket, psychologically speaking. They have something that's called resilience. Resilience is like a bulletproof jacket to trauma. So you can go through life without actually becoming traumatized. You can experience violations without remaining in a traumatized state. Even if you do become traumatized temporarily, a person who's resilient knows how to overcome that trauma to get back to being themselves. And really, at the heart of resilience is its definition. To be resilient is to adapt to stress while maintaining psychological well-being. To be resilient is to adapt to stress while maintaining psychological well-being. Specifically, stressors, anything that puts pressure on you, anything that puts tension on you, anything that makes you feel upset. If you have resilience, then you have the bulletproof vest to the trauma. So you're able to actually adapt in such a way where your well-being is intact. What happens to a person when they become traumatized is it throws off their well-being. So there's something about the trauma that changes them. So if you've taken lesson one in the Hillman University course, then you understand what trauma is. So check your notes. What is trauma? What is trauma? It has three components that make it a trauma, that make it something that traumatizes you. A lot of people think, oh, a bad event is trauma. No, wrong. A bad event is not trauma. Not everyone's traumatized by a bad event. Oh, abuse. No, wrong. Not everyone is traumatized by abuse. Someone can come and punch a person in the face, but for you, if you're someone who's traumatized by that, that's you. But a professional boxer gets punched in the face all the time and they're not traumatized by it. So, what actually is trauma? What constitutes trauma? Check your notes. If you're taking the first course, check your notes. What constitutes trauma? There's three components. It's a distressing event that causes a change in a person that is an undesirable change. It's a distressing event that causes a change in a person that's an undesirable change or a detrimental change. So if I am punched in the face and then I go, this was a distressing event, and now I don't feel safe around other humans. You see how I'm changed now? That's traumatized. I'm changed. Why is that a detrimental change? Why is that a undesirable change? Because if I don't feel safe around humans, you see how that's going to impede my life? I'm not the same as I was, and I'm worse off now because now I don't feel safe around humans. That makes no sense. That's all the time. There may be other humans that live in my home. This is the traumatized state. So please understand this is extremely important for your notes. The traumatized state, what makes you traumatized is when a distressing event changes you for the worse, to your detriment. Okay, this is important to understand so that you can't be controlled because people use trauma to control you. Okay, so your oppressors are the individuals in your life that want to hold you down by keeping you traumatized, by keeping your families traumatized, by keeping your communities traumatized. And how do they do that? They give you distressing events and they hope that you will be changed in a way that is to your detriment. They're trying to change you so you think and act to your detriment. Like, oh, I don't feel safe around humans anymore. That's to my detriment. I can't trust people anymore. That's to my detriment. Oh, fine. I won't take any more risks anymore because I lost. I lost money. I lost time. I lost friends. I lost. That's to my detriment. If I don't take risks anymore, Oh, I don't want to invest money anymore. That's to my detriment. If I can't invest money anymore, do you see how that holds me down? Do you see how if my family's traumatized, that holds the family down? You see how that holds your community down? So they want to keep you in a traumatized state. That's how oppressors hold you down. So you have to get on the bulletproof vest of resilience because then you become virtually invincible to being able to be controlled. Then you become trauma proof. So what is resilience? Resilience is our ability to adapt to the stressors, to the distressing event, and to maintain psychological well-being, meaning we're not going to go into a detrimental way of thinking. An example of this, then, if we use the boxing example, right? Someone comes to punch you in your face. You say, I don't want to become changed by this. Okay, maybe I have a black eye, but I say, I don't want to become psychologically changed by the fact that someone has punched me in my face. So what is resilience? How do I not become psychologically changed for the worse? Well, I could say, I learned from that. Now I'll know to bob to the left, to weave to the right. I'm going to keep practicing. I'm going to become a better boxer. I'm not changed for the worse. I'm changed for the better. Maybe I even say, I think I'll be better off as a coach. And then I excel at coaching. I didn't change for the worse. I changed for the better. As a result, I've displayed resilience when I now become better as a result of what's happened to me. I become resilient. That resilience is my bulletproof vest. Do you see how you can't be controlled when you are resilient? Because if every time somebody tries to oppress you and holds you down and create a distressing event, a traumatization on you, and you keep coming out as better, they can't control you. They can't hold you down. That is very frustrating to them. How do we stop this woman? How do we stop this guy? How do we hold down this family, this community, this group of people? When they keep getting better every time we do something to them, they keep coming out stronger. They keep getting smarter. They can't control you because you're bulletproof. You are trauma proof because you're allowing what's happening to you only to change you for the better, or you're allowing it not to change you. How would that look? Someone punches you in your face and you say, I'm going to continue boxing. Are you going to stop boxing now that you've got punched in the face? No. No, as soon as I'm done healing up this black eye, I'm back in the ring. I'm not going to allow it to knock me off my horse. How many people have gotten into a car accident and afterwards you felt afraid to drive your car? Traumatized mindset, traumatized thinking. That's what your oppressors want to happen to you. That's what your narcissistic mother wants to happen to you. That's what your narcissistic abusive husband wants to happen to you. So they can say, see, you can't do it on your own. You need to rely on me. Puts me in the control position, you in the oppressed position. How do we become resilient? We adapt to the stressor. And in this case, we maintain the psychological well-being by being unchanged. How could I be unchanged if I've gotten into a car accident and I say, I'm still going to drive. I'm still going to go to my destination. I'm still going to drive the next time I get a car, the next time I get behind the wheel of a car, I'm going to drive again. You get punched in the face, I'm still going to box. You fail a class, I'm still going to go to school. I'm still going to try again. You get dumped, I'm still going to date. Does it change anything? What does this change? It just changes nothing except for the fact that I've started to make it through the numbers and realize that one of the bad guys, I'm already done with the bad guy. He's already out of my life. That's resilience, is to say, I'm going to keep going to either remain unchanged or if you are changed, to be changed for the better. Do you understand? Do you understand? This is the key to being trauma proof. Resilience. If you have a resilience, you cannot be controlled. If they cannot control you, they cannot oppress you. They cannot hold you down. They cannot stop you. Because every time they try to do something to you, you either just get better or you maintain the same. And do you know how frustrating that is to someone who is trying to control you? I used to go through these psychological games with my parents when I was a kid. By the way, I was a tough kid to raise. but not because I was particularly misbehaved, but because you couldn't control me. And so every time you would try a different punishment on me, I would take the attitude of, I don't care, which takes away the distressing aspect to it because I didn't act like I was distressed by the punishment that the parents would come up with. And then I would maintain the same, I would be the same or only be changed for the better. They couldn't seem to get me to do what it was they wanted me to do because the aspect of control is to make the person, the party that you're trying to control, want to avoid the negative consequence and thereby do what you're wanting them to do. They want to put you in a position where you're too afraid of the negative consequence, so you will go where they want you to go, do what you want them to do. And that's how they're trying to use trauma to control you. So you're being resilient by adapting to the stressor, by maintaining your psychological well being, by remaining unchanged, or by allowing yourself to be changed for the better. If you have clients and you're a clinician who's taking this course, then you might recognize how I want to be able to help my clients to change, but I notice their change as a result of the abuse that they experience, of the accidents that they've been in, of the assaults, of the neglect. How do I get them to put on this bulletproof vest? How do I get them to manifest resilience? Remember, resilience doesn't just mean that you're automatically not changed. It means that even if you're traumatized at first, you come out of the traumatized state. You come out of that state. How do we do that? Well, the state is that you're changed in an undesirable way. So what you're going to do for your client is you're going to go in, you're going to identify what is the change? What is the undesirable change? You've decided you can't trust people. You've decided you have to avoid people. You've decided that you can't drive a car, that you can't invest money, that you won't go to school. What is the undesirable change? And then you write that down. And now you have the central focus. When we fix this undesirable change, you're healed from this particular trauma. You are no longer in the traumatized state. How does that work? Let's take for example, let's say their heart was broken. So they say, I'm no longer going to do relationships anymore. Right. And then they're manifesting avoidance attachment. Right. So you say, okay, we're going to change what was changed about you back to either how you were or we're going to become better. So the fact that you took the bad experience you had and allowed it to change you, we got to fix that. So what is this? We're saying we're going to avoid people. Let's flip that. We're not going to avoid people. Did you avoid people before you got traumatized? No. Good. We're going back to how you were. Or how can we make you better? Well, we can make you someone who goes out and experiences more connection, is open for more connections, has more relationships. And by doing that, what did we do? We took them out of the traumatized state. Did you follow it? You got into the traumatized state by allowing it to change you. You come out of the traumatized state by changing back to either how you were or changing for the better. So what you're working on then with your client is going out and going on more dates. And your client will say to you, are you crazy? You want me to go out and to talk to more people after I've gotten my feelings hurt? And you say, yes. That is how we heal the trauma. You want me to go back on the same amount of dates that I was going on before and open myself up back again to this happening to me again? And you say, yes, that is how we heal the trauma. Because when you get back to how you were, then you're not traumatized. When you get back, when you go to even becoming even better than you were, then you're healed from the trauma. So to the extent that they actually follow the instructions and they say, okay, this sounds crazy, I'm very scared. Good. You're going to feel the fear, but do it anyway. You're going to feel the fear, but do it anyway. And so they say, okay, they feel the fear, they go forward, they do it anyway, they start going on dates. And they come back to you and they're like, I'm still getting hurt out here. And you say, feel the fear, but do it anyway, keep going. And what happens? They eventually either lose that fear because they go on so many dates and face so much rejection that they're just like, this is not even scary anymore, especially when they're doing it properly. Or they find success because if it's a numbers game anyway, it was always a numbers game. And so if you keep going, you're going to find success. And all of a sudden, they're no longer traumatized. They're no longer avoidant. And they say, you are a genius. Thank you so much. Thank you for helping me. Not a problem. How did you do it? You understood that the trauma changed them for the worse, and now you help them to be either changed for the better or to go on unchanged. That's your job as a clinician, as a therapist, or as their coach, is to help them get back to that place where they're no longer living in the traumatized mindset. This happened to me, so now I need to be different. Now I need to be changed. That's how they control you. They're counting on you. Your oppressors are counting on getting you to change. See, this information right here, this is exactly why they want to ban this app. They don't want you to have access to this kind of free information because if they can't control you, what do they have? You have to protect yourself. You are responsible for protecting yourself from being traumatized by putting on resilience like a trauma-proof vest so that you can move through life. Let's talk about the mindset that you have to have. Your mindset that you're going through life with is a mindset of this will happen, traumas will occur, violations will occur. Not I hope it never happens to me. I hope I never have to experience that. I didn't think I would ever have to go through something like that. That's horrible. No, people who go through life with the mindset of that shouldn't happen to me. The world shouldn't be that bad. These bad things are not supposed to be occurring. They are going to be traumatized again and again and again because they're not walking into life with the proper mindset of resilience in the first place. So you have to have the mindset of resilience, which is it's an inevitability that someone will try me. It is an inevitability that someone will try to control me, that someone will try to push me down, that someone will try to hold me, that someone will try to make me have fear, that someone will abuse me or neglect me. It's an inevitability. I don't know when it's coming, but it can come from the people who are closest to me. When you recognize that it's an inevitability, then you can move through life in a way that allows you not to be as traumatized when it does happen to you, because now you're prepared for it. This is so sad that I lost my loved one, but I understood that was an inevitability. It's so sad that I lost my job, but I understood that that's an inevitability. It's so sad that someone has tried to harm me, has crossed my boundaries, but I understood this is an inevitability. I understood that this can happen in life. And so now I need to put on the trauma proof vest and allow myself to be unchanged or change for the better. I'm going to adapt. I'm going to be unchanged or changed for the better. All of the I can't trust, all of the avoidance, I can't do relationships, I can't, all of that, fear. Fear, 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 fear. It's finding exits and retreating. It's fear. That's what's keeping you stuck. You want to know what your oppressors want to use to control you? It's fear. It's not complicated. Just fear. If they can just keep you in the state of fear, then they can control you. That's just the easiest thing. It's the easiest way to control a person, and they're right. It's the easiest way to, is it the right, or is it the nicest, kindest, most moral way to get someone to do what you want? No. But it's just easy. It's just easy. They just gotta, right? Beat someone up in front of you or beat you up a little bit, and then hopefully now you'll be afraid. It's easy, right? It's a lot more difficult to try to motivate you and appeal to your intellect and your kindness, and right, that's harder, right? So instead, what they want to do is they want to inspire fear. So they're going to try to oppress you through the fear. If you don't allow fear to control you, you are invincible. You are uncontrollable. Put that in your notes. If I don't allow fear to control me, then I'm uncontrollable. Don't allow anyone to ever control you. How do you do that? By never doing anything out of fear. Never do anything out of fear. Don't allow fear to inspire any of your actions. If you are not in an immediate life or death situation where you have to make a snap decision, then responding in fight, flight, freeze, fawn is totally maladaptive for your life. Allow yourself to calmly pause and separate the feelings from the actions. We have feelings. Fear is a feeling, but that doesn't mean I have to act, right? So if someone tries to inspire me with fear and they say, you're gonna lose your house if you don't pay me $500. Pay me $500. Okay, well, what will fear do? Fear is gonna put me in fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Fight, I'm gonna just start arguing and screaming and right. Flight, I'm gonna run away and try to hide. The freeze situation, I'm just gonna not know what to do. I'm just gonna stand there like, oh, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. No action. And then the fawn response is, here's the money. Here's 500. Here's 1,000, right? Whatever you tell me to do, I'll do. They want to inspire you into the fawn position. That's how they control you. Very easy. But if you separate the feeling from the action, then what happens? I can feel the fear, but not take any action on the fear. Wow, I'm afraid they could take my house. That's very scary. But notice how I'm still. I'm not doing anything. I just feel the fear. Wow, this is very, but I allow myself to experience the tension without taking an action. My action is over here. So this is a totally different thing. I'm using stop, stillness, thoughtfulness, observance, patience. I'm just being in stillness right now. Wow, that would be very scary if they took my house. Wow. Hmm. Now let me go into thoughtfulness and observance and patience and analyze my options and strategize what's the best thing I can do. Hard to control me when I stand still and I access my thinking capacity and I access my ability to reason and I access my wisdom and I access my spirituality. It's a lot harder to control me when I'm still, when I separate the feeling from the action. All of your regrettable decisions are because you followed the feelings. All of the self-sabotage is because you followed the feelings. When you allow yourself to feel the feelings, but you act only on your intellect, then you have less regrettable decisions, less self-sabotage, more wisdom in your life, more high quality decisions and connections. And that's how we are uncontrollable, but instead trauma proof, because we're not allowing every individual situation that seems scary. We're not allowing that to move us off of our center. We just observe it and we go, ooh, that's scary. I do feel something. I definitely feel the feeling in my chest. Am I going to act? No. Am I going to reach in my pocket and pull out $500? No. Am I going to run away? No. I'm just going to sit here because I can analyze that I'm not actually in an immediate life or death situation. Someone is threatening to take my house. It's not an immediate life or death situation. They have to go through a whole legal process. So I have a moment to think. Stand still. Don't take action in fear. Don't take action in fear. And then you can't be controlled. People who you're in relationships with, they want to scare you. So that's why they keep threatening that they're going to leave you or abandon you. That's a way that they control you. They keep threatening that they're going to leave you, they're going to abandon you, oh, you're going to be sorry, oh, I'm going to leave, oh, I want a divorce, I'm kicking you out of my house. You're always just, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. They're trying to do that so that you'll go into fawn response and start acting in the way they want you to act. Instead, I want you to stand still. Stillness. Okay. I have the feeling of fear, but I'm not going to act on the fear. I'm going to analyze the situation. I'm going to think. And what options do I come up with when I allow at least 7 seconds to pass? I come up with options that are in wisdom, that are aligned with my purpose and who I want to be, actions that are in love, actions that are resilient, that are brilliant. Does that make sense? A person who focuses on what they control and what they have allows themselves to not be put into the fear mindset. They allow themselves to be trauma proof. Again, a person who focuses on what they control and what they have is trauma proof because your oppressors want you to focus on what you don't have and what you can't control. That's simple. So they say, look over here. You can't control this. I could do this to you. This could happen. This could happen. And you just go, oh, I'm not interested in that because I can't control that. I'm just going to focus here on what I control. Here, what's here in my box that I control? Oh, wow, I can go to work. I can educate myself. I can exercise. I can eat right. I can do a lot of stuff over here. And they're like, hey, aren't you scared of all this stuff over here? And you just go, I'm not interested in that because I can't control that. You're going to do what you're going to do. Whatever you're going to do, just do it. I'm focused here on what I control. I can contact my advocates. Oh, I can read. Oh, look at that. I can run. You're focused so much on what you control that what you control grows. Where you put the energy of the mind, that's what will expand. So if you put the energy of the mind on the lack, then your lack will expand. They have this. Why don't we have that? We should have that. You're worried about what you don't have. You're worried about what your family doesn't have. You're worried about what your community doesn't have. Focus on what you do have and expand that. I do have this. I do have this ability. I do have this capability. I do have this potential. I can expand on this. I do have these connections. Focus on what you do have. Don't focus on what you do not have. Focus on what you can control. Don't focus on what you can't control. There's no point. That's a waste of energy. I can't believe he left me. That's focusing on what you can't control. Focus here. Here. Who's in your life now? Who do you still have? What do you control? Oh, I can show love to this person. I can show love to this person. I can show love to myself. Does that make sense? So you focus on what you have and what you control. That makes you trauma proof. You have to make a decision. And so let's make that decision right now. You have to make a decision not to change for the worse, no matter what happens. Make the decision that you will not change for the worse. If you go through a car accident, that's not going to stop you from driving a car. If someone comes and assaults you, that's not going to stop you from going for a walk. You will not be changed. And if something changes you, it's only going to change you for the better. You make that decision now, ahead of time. Because when the traumatic situation comes, when the violation occurs, then you will be trauma proof. Because we live in a world where the violation is going to come. We already know, beyond the shadow of a doubt, there will be traumatic situations in the future. There will be violations. There will be things that happen, unfortunate events, whether you are avoidant or not. So all this, I don't trust anyone. That didn't keep you safe. Bad things still going to happen to you. I don't go out. That didn't keep you safe. Bad things still going to happen to you. I don't take risks. That didn't keep you safe. Bad things still going to happen to you. I'm not going to go out and try to apply for a new job because that's not going to keep you safe. You could lose a job you have. We're all experiencing oppression. We're all experiencing threats. We're all experiencing the potential that something could go wrong. But the resilient ones don't allow that to stop them. They just keep going. They don't focus on the losses, on the business ideas that didn't work. They don't focus on the money they don't have. They focus on what they do have, what they can do, what is in their capability. They control that. And they take that and they grow it, because where you focus the energy of the mind, that's what will grow. That's what will expand. So make a determination, make a decision right now to become better as a result of what you experience, to stay the same. So what does that mean? Well, to show courage, you have to show vulnerability. To be courageous is the same thing as being vulnerable. A resilient person understands that they have to make themselves vulnerable again. So if they got hurt in a relationship, they're going to have to be vulnerable again to an extent and go out there again and make it possible that to an extent a person could hurt them again. But if they're prepared, if they realize that this is a part of the process of life and that this is a numbers game, then they're able to give just enough trust so that if they are violated, their trust is betrayed, they can handle it. Because they didn't go out there just, I'm completely loose. I'm just going to let anything happen to me. No, no, no. They're measured. I'm going to give a little trust, and I'm going to see what this person does with my little bit of trust. I'm going to give a little vulnerability, and I'm going to see what this person does with my little bit of vulnerability. Then when they violate it, and you realize I can handle that. I mean, it wasn't good. I'm sad for a day, but I can move on because this is a numbers game. A resilient person doesn't stop. A resilient person isn't changed, not for the worse. They only change for the better. You have the capacity to be resilient. Resilience is not based on your gender. It's not based on the color of your skin. Resilience is not based on where you were raised, what happened to your ancestors, or what happened to your parents or the past generations. Resilience is based on you making a decision to be unchanged or only changed for the better, and to allow yourself to be vulnerable again. That's true courage. That's resilience. And that's how we can be trauma proof.